large units move out and creep, die. And that happened over and over again. And in the background, Jaedong was doing a good job of challenging the right side expansion, Baneling busting and Ultralisk busting the planetary fortress. And when you can't reinforce with another big blob, you eventually dry up, and that put Polt in that all-in situation where, as you said, he's got 2 orbitals. More importantly, he's not mining at all. So what does he have to do? He has to all-in with that army, and it's not a good choice.
No, when Terran really has to attack and they have no more money in the bank and they know that they're like kind of positioning their army right now in a position they shouldn't be, but they also kind of have to because, you know, clock is against them. You know it's going to be bad. And if you give Jaedong the opportunity to set up the perfect engagement, well, he's going to jump on that and he's going to execute it as well as anyone.
So if Way Station is the map that a Zerg player would like, I have to imagine Merry-Go-Round is the map that a Terran player would really like. Now, in the past of this tournament, we even saw, I think it was here, it might have been Bucharest, but we saw a Roach opening from one of the Zergs. That was something that they did to try and crack the Terran before they really got up and going, keep them off that third base. Jaedong has been known to be what you would call cheesy or aggressive. Is he going to pull a fast one out here, or does he try to play it standard? We'll have to see.
Yes, we do, Jeff. Yes, we do. I was just getting the scoreboard ready and stuff. Actually, and I still didn't do a good job. Jeff, take it away. Introduce the players properly.
All right, guys, give a big cheer. This guy needs your support. It's Captain America himself in the top left-hand side, the blue Terran, CM Storm Polt. And his opponents, marching on to victory in that first game, leading it for those that bleed blue. It's Evil Geniuses Jaedong.
You know, you say that you think that this is a really good map for Terrans, but I must say, in most of the Pro League games that I've watched, I see almost every single Terran playing mech on this map.
Really?
And almost every single game that I've seen, they die against Swarmos. It's been kind of
interesting.
Odd. Maybe I've just watched the wrong games, but I think I even saw Maru play mech on this map. I think it was against Pure, but I could be mistaken.
Well,
and that also didn't go that well.
You know, looking at the map with what you're saying, normally I have an answer because I'm a know-it-all son of a bee, but I don't know. I think back to TVZ as the broader spectrum as it's gone back to Wings of Liberty. Anytime a Terran can put a planetary fortress at kind of a midway point and act as a way station, as it were, that's terrible, but it is, you know, a way station, a base camp, if you will, and they can use that as their launch point to do the parade push. That's historically been very powerful for Terran and very hard for Zerg. Zerg have instead, you know, we saw that style emerge where they were going like Roach Baneling bus right and left. That was to kind of counteract that style, saying, hey, if you're going to come closer to me, I'm going to do a really explosive, very fast-hitting style. And that's kind of fallen by the wayside as the maps got bigger and the third stopped having that kind of feature. But on Way Station, or excuse me, on Merry-Go-Round, I mean, what third does Polt take that's not threatening the middle of the map? He really can't. You know, he's always going to be leaning in the direction of the additional bases of the Zerg player.
I think one of the reasons why maybe some Terrans don't like Bion it that much is because of this strange invisible force field.
It's hard for drops.
Yeah, it's very hard for drops. You know, once drops go in, there's not really a way to go out unless they just fly all the way out of the base. But then the majority of the time, you have to go over a Spore Crawler or a Queens. We will get a few more shots off. So we will see. I do expect the 3 Reaper opening again by Polt because if you do it on Way Station, such a big map, it's probably a little more effective on Merry-Go-Round.
You know, it's funny you bring up that wall too. I love it. I love because not everyone knows this, I guess, but in Heart of the Swarm, Blizzard actually went back to work and upgraded the physics engine of Starcraft 2. It's much more kind of realistic, I guess is what you could say. It makes for a more thematic game. It's very cool. But there are a few funny things, and the way like flyers interact with that wall, where they just kind of like kiss it, hug it, and then slam into it with like just smearing their face up and down it. It looks so funny. I hope we get a chance to see that in this game. But as it stands right now, one Zergling does go down immediately. And that's already pretty nice. Of course, it's the drones that are the big prizes. If any drones are lost of Jaedong, then it's a great start for Polt.
Yeah, but there are quite a few Zerglings over here. They're going to buy time for that Queen to spawn. Second Reaper is well on its way, and we see the third Reaper on the production tab as well. Quick Factory is a follow-up, so far everything is the same.
Polt doing the same build? You don't say.
I do not think that he's going to make the same amount of Hellions as he did. That would be very strange, especially because the Marauder drop would most likely get sniped on this map. So most likely will just be a little bit more of a macro opening behind these Hellions.
I think that opening was an adjustment to Way Station in general. I think the adjustments we'll see that are going to be kind of the more normal version of Polt's TVZ should be 6 or 8 Hellions and the 3 or 2 Reapers. followed up with just kind of bio play. That seems to be what he likes to do.
This is a really quick second Rex for Polt. I must say I'm a little bit curious.
And
right?
semi-hits too, you know?
Exactly, that's kind of strange. Normally you don't drop a Rex
Reaper?
in this phase in the game.
Mark?
No. I don't think it's going to be Mass Reaper, Jeff.
He brings it back.
We do that when we smurf in Gold League, but not.
It doesn't work either. I actually like, you know, when I do like the Kingston HyperX booth or something like that,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm so good, I'll do Mass Reaper, and then, you know, these gold level kids just smash me, make that threat on Team Liquid, and they're like, look, I beat it control, and I'm like, damn it. Mass Reaper hard to make work, long story short. Third base does go down for Jaedong in the background. He's up 10 supply, but again, that'll ebb and flow, and obviously in ZvT, that's not necessarily a measurement of who's winning or who's not. Roachborn.
It's relatively quick. It's not super quick, but 6 minutes and 20 seconds makes me wonder if he wants to go somewhere with this. We don't see any lay attack just yet.
No, Roachborn, and it's kind of quick. And also, it's at the front of his natural, so I don't think he's hiding it. I wonder if he's broadcasting that. So I wonder if it's defensive Roaches.
Yeah, that could be. It could be the case, of course. I mean, we saw a lot of Hellions in the previous game from Polt. We see that second Rex that Jaedong doesn't know about just yet. Still no layer. I'm a little bit interested to see where the Dong is going to take this.
Me too. The little bit of kind of Zergling, Hellion, Reaper dancing around the map, just kind of trying to figure each other out. This third will be found immediately, and unfortunately a drone will pay for that price.
Then we saw
Jaedong is dropping 2 Evo chambers, so it is going to be that upgraded Roach style, I feel.
Maybe a big 1-1 Roach timing?
Yeah, I think so.
Even though he's making Roaches very early for that, so I might be completely wrong. He might just use these Roaches to make sure that this hatchery doesn't die.
It still could be melee upgrades, and then, exactly like you just said. These are just defensive Roaches. Meanwhile, at that third, by the way, the third's at fairly low health. One of the Queens is running back. This is a very... I mean, the Roaches are going to push it back, but that Queen died completely unnecessarily. Like, if you have Roaches coming out like that, you don't need to have that Queen risk itself, but Polt will take that prize. And by the way, that Viking you were talking about, 2 kills right now. It's coming up on, I believe.
Yep. I know not too many additional overlords, and Jaedong even retreating his overlords probably realized he lost 4 of them on the way station.
Upgrades, by the way. You were right, Kevin. Your instincts are very
Was I?
good. Yeah, you said that. If you did, I'm just going to give you credit for it anyways.
I don't think I said it at all, but I really like that you're making me look good.
I think you're very smart. You know what? Even though the Viking only has 2 kills this time as opposed to the 4 of the game previous, I love this to be done every single game. Look at, I mean, Jaedong's vision, because of these Hellions and Reapers and because of that Viking, it's non-existent. It's creep-based vision right now, which is, you know, pretty okay because he's got several Queens out there doing that. But otherwise, he has no idea if there's a third down behind this, if there's some weird 6 racks follow-up. Now, Polt's very kind of monotonous about his builds, but that being said, you still want to be in the know.
This is a little bit more similar to what we know. Stimpak's actually going to be ready. This is 9 minutes and 40 seconds. This is a really quick drop.
Yeah, double drop,
Oh my god, all we have is 6 Roaches and 3 Zerglings. This is going to be really hard for Jaedong to deal with. If these units put themselves in the middle line, what a quick drop over here by Polt, with Stim being ready already.
Yep, and there's actually Reapers and Hellions out there hitting that third at the same time. It looks like he's going to now target down the lair. A little bit of a weird choice, by the way. We'll see if I get to be critical about it. Queen spazzing out. They're doing what they can, are the Roaches and Lings, but there's just that Stim, the 2 medevacs, they're doing a lot of damage. It looks like they eventually will get pushed back. He killed the gas, Kevin. If he would have targeted the lair from the beginning, I think that's a dead lair.
I think if he puts himself in a better position as well, those Zerglings will have a much harder time actually dealing damage to those units. That could have been a lot worse for Jaedong. Jaedong now also is like, oh wow, that was quick. That was quick. Stim, of course.
As it is still really bad, by the way. Let us not, you know, gloss over this fact. Really nice drop. Killing the gas does do some damage there, getting a few drones, and of course forcing Jaedong to get more Zerglings into a bad position. But as you said, it could have been in the minerals, which gives less surface area. And if he doesn't kill the geyser and instead goes for the lair, he might have killed the lair right here, and the Jaedong's on the ropes in that case.
He's going to deny some creep. He might get 1 or 2 overlords as well. This could actually supply block Jaedong. Could be very frustrating. Of course, he could always morph Zerglings into Banelings, but the Baneling is not ready yet. Jaedong is going to lose a few Mutalisks, but in the end, he will clean this up. I think he only lost 1 Mutas, so that was actually a very good trade.
Not so bad. Viking says, hey, what about me? It wants to die, but first, the medevacs will be targeted. No third for Polt just yet. I think that's one of the... Well, I mean, it's floating over now, but it's not established. And that's where you look to see kind of the give and take of what Polt's done. Polt's opted for more aggression from the beginning, whereas a lot of other Terran players would have an established third right now and would be more looking for map control. But Polt tried to do game-ending damage from the beginning. And what it's done is, look at the Spire, not upgrading. just now 2-2 start on those Evo chambers. That was delayed by a good 30 or 40 seconds as well.
Yeah, Jaedong being ahead in upgrades, his second game in a row, and I guess that's something we can see more and more often as a lot of Zerg players just open up like this, and that was different once upon a time.
Yeah. And it's something that Zergs have always struggled with. And in fact, even last game, despite Polt being behind in upgrades, he still hit 3-3 faster than Zerg. Zerg has such a tough time hitting Hive efficiently and getting to those 3-3 upgrades. But Polt, once again, just kind of playing the shadow boxing match right now. Missile turrets at the natural mean that these Mules are going to have to turn back. They're not really at critical mass. Behind this, 36 Zerglings being made and just a couple of Mules being added. I feel like Jaedong, once again, is hoping to catch Polt in the middle of the map being overly aggressive.
He could also just go absolutely crazy the moment that 2-2 finishes up. This is a strategy that was very popular a long time ago in Wings of
Violet
Liberty.
did that all the time.
Yeah, Dimaga did it as well.
Yeah.
He took one map of MMA, and then MMA is like, all right, I'll play a little different.
Yeah, there's no drones on this production tab, Kevin. This is Mulus and Zergling all day long. Baneling speed is coming close to finishing. There's a Widow Mine, just a Widow Mine, I feel. And it gets triggered right there to ill effect. Jaedong trying to get him to come back onto creep. And he's also, as you said, waiting for that 2-2, but also Baneling speed, some really critical upgrades about to finish.
Jaedong is wondering, I think, how he wants to properly engage. He doesn't know how many Widow Mines there are. There aren't really all that many, so he doesn't have too much to worry about, but that's something we know. That's not something that Jaedong can possibly know right now.
And with just the 2, it'll be interesting. I mean, again, it's just been pure Zerglings coming out. Jaedong is flying up in supply. Creep will get stagnated right there, but Polt is not giving up on the middle of the map. I think a tank is here, yes. So tank should have what it takes to deal with it. Jaedong springing the trap, though. He's going for the middle of the map. And everything is blowing up. Medevacs are trying to load up, and they're trying to get out of there. But when those afterbursters, or whatever the hell they're called, when they stop.
Afterburners, I believe.
Thank you. Bursters didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And the Medevacs do die. Polt tries to come out and rescue, but that's an effort in futility, or however the heck you say. Even that English is eluding me. Jaedong is looking to go up 2 games. He's inside the production line. There's not a whole lot here staying his way. Zerglings come a knocking. There's the